When we think about great leaders, our minds usually jump to people who are bold, decisive, the ones who really command a room. But what if the most powerful kind of leadership isn't about being the loudest voice at all? Today, we're going to explore a quieter, more grounded way to lead, something called humble confidence.
Seriously, take a second. Think about the people who've really made a difference for you. A boss, a teacher, a mentor. Was it their power that stood out? Or their absolute certainty about everything? Or was it something else? Something more grounded? That something else is exactly what we're digging into today.
Well, that something else points to a totally different kind of strength, doesn't it? It's one that doesn't have to shout to be heard. It kind of suggests that the leaders who really truly shape us are the ones who know how to make space for other people to shine.
And that quality they have, well, we can call it humble confidence. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a total contradiction, right? How can you possibly be humble and confident at the same time? But as you're about to see, they're not opposites at all. They actually help each other grow.
This right here, this is the core idea. Humble confidence is all about knowing when to step into the spotlight and when to get out of the way. Think about a big team meeting. You speak up firmly to defend a core value of the project, but you step back when the conversation turns to who gets the credit for that brilliant idea. See? It's a choice that's guided by your values, not by your ego.
So, to really get how these two things work together, let's break them down. We'll take a closer look at each one on its own.
First up, humility. This word gets a really bad rap. It has absolutely nothing to do with thinking you're worthless or putting yourself down. It's about being grounded. It's kind of like that feeling you get when you look up at a clear, starry night, that sense of being a small but connected part of something vast and beautiful. That's humility.
And then, on the other side of the coin, you've got true confidence. Now, this isn't self-esteem. That's often all about comparing yourself to other people. True confidence is quieter. It's like having an internal compass that just says, I know what I stand for, and I'm going to act on it, without needing anyone else to clap for you.
And this is where it all just clicks into place. You see how they work together? You speak up, not because you need to win the argument, but because a core value is on the line. And you step back, not because you're weak, but because you can feel your ego just trying to grab the spotlight. It's a dance.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But let's be real. In the moment, it is not always that easy. There's this constant battle going on inside our heads that makes finding this balance a real challenge.
See, inside each of us, we've got these two competing voices. There's the ego. It's loud, it's demanding, and it wants what it wants right now. And then there's the higher self. That's the quiet, steady whisper that comes from a much deeper place of wisdom. And this isn't just some nice metaphor. It's a real tension we all feel. Now, the challenge isn't that we have an ego, it's that the ego is usually the one with the microphone.
So here's another moment to pause and reflect. In your own life, when you're making decisions, which voice is usually in the driver's seat? And maybe more importantly, how do you even tell them apart?
Well, here are a few telltale signs. That sudden urge to just cut someone off mid-sentence? Or that moment when you realize you completely stop listening because you're already crafting your perfect comeback? Yep, that's the ego. Just noticing it, that awareness is the first step. It gives you the power to choose a different way.
And here's the really good news. You don't need some massive personality overhaul to cultivate humble confidence. It's all about making these small, intentional shifts that, over time, have a surprisingly huge impact. And maybe one of the most practical, powerful places to start is with your words. The language we use, it both reflects and shapes our mindset. So simply paying attention to it can be a total game changer.
Just look at this. It seems so simple, right? But when you move from the language of I and you to we and us, you're moving from a place of separation to a place of connection. It's the difference between saying, here's what I think we should do, and asking, what might we consider here? One is a statement, the other is an invitation.
Okay, let's talk about a tricky one. Giving advice. We've all been there. We see a problem, and we just want to jump in and fix it for somebody. But as it says here, when advice isn't asked for, it hardly ever helps. Why? Because it usually comes from our ego, saying, hey, I know best, and it can actually create resistance instead of help.
So, before you jump in with your 2 cents, here is a fantastic little checklist. Just pause, run through these questions in your head, and pay special attention to that last one. Who is speaking right now? Wow. Sometimes the most powerful, the most helpful thing you can offer someone is just your quiet, caring presence. So as we start to pull all these different threads together, what we start to see is this portrait of a quieter, more grounded way of leading.
It's a leadership that's built not on authority, but on presence.
And humble confidence is built through these tiny, daily choices. It's about choosing to slow down a conversation instead of rushing through it. It's about making that conscious effort to give credit away instead of trying to take it for yourself. It's about listening to truly understand, not just to prepare your response. And it's having the wisdom to choose enough instead of always chasing more.
And over time, those small daily choices, they build these incredible qualities. Leaders with humble confidence, they're not afraid to be wrong. What they care about is doing what's right. They can take praise and they can take criticism without letting either one define who they are. It's this quiet, resilient kind of strength.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to just carry with you. Imagine it. Really, what would change in your work, in your relationships, in your life? What would happen if you shifted your focus away from needing to be seen and instead focused on just being present for others? There's a profound strength in that space, and it might just be the kind of leadership the world needs most right now.